Howdy, my homies. James Finnerty here with Rewind Electric, being goofy again on the camera because I don't have the other one set up. I'm just doing a quick little iPhone video that I, again, wasn't planning to do. Yet, however, this guy showed up today, and some of you will know from my previous videos that I have been waiting and searching for quite some time for this missing piece of a puzzle I'm working on, and here it is. So this is a particular speaker for the 10-inch vintage speaker, not a shootout comparison that I'm putting together. And yes, that and the 12-inch speaker, not a shootout comparison that I'm also putting together, are both slow moving along because I am slow at what I do, but I'm also methodical and detail oriented and unsatisfied with mediocrity. So yeah, I mean, these are things I'm putting together. These speakers have been around for 60 years or, so depending on which ones. So I don't think a couple more months or even a year is hurting anything. I would like this to be something that is extremely worthwhile and lasts a long time. So the 10-inch is going to be obviously a lot less involved than the 12-inch because there's a lot less options for 10-inch guitar speakers, at least vintage ones. So that one might actually be done first, even though I've already done a lot of tracking for the 12-inch. And these are going to be, much like the 12-inch one started out with which speakers did I want for my Marshall, and then which speakers did I want in my Deluxe and in my Twin Reverb. This one is which speaker do I want in my Princeton Reverb. So right now it has a Oxford, I believe. But I kind of suspect that either this one or a JBL D110F that I have will be my choice for that amp. Because that amp is going to fill the role of the brighter and cleaner amp between that and my Deluxe Reverb, while the Deluxe has a Jensen C12N in it. Which is a little, it's a bright and clear amp, but that's a little bit more of a woody speaker compared to, say, like a JBL D112, which I did consider and auditioned and recorded. So, I'm glad this is packed up well, because this went on a long journey to get here. Past me, went all the way out to the other side of the desert and came back. Lo and behold, the all-elusive Jensen C10N. This one being, let's see, looks like 1965. Yeah, 220549, which would be 49th week of 1965. 220 is Jensen. I don't know what Soundtronics is. It's just a goofy sticker that does happen to match in color. It doesn't belong in the speaker. So, okay. No other hidden special goodies in the box. Let's begin the test here. We're going to have a little physical examination of it, and then we're going to do some electrical measurements, and then we're going to run some signal through it and see what happens. So these tests are important for me to do as soon as I get in a speaker, whether I have time or it fits my needs or I'm prepared to do it or not, because so many speakers that I've bought are damaged in shipping because they were improperly packaged. This one looks like it was packaged quite well, so I'm not concerned about that in this case, but it still is going to need a test. I'm going to leave that sticker on there. I'm going to take that off though, because I don't want that to ruin the test. you know, if I have to send this back, I hate to have like messed with it, but if it's flapping around loose, which it is, I don't want that buzzing and making me think that something's wrong with the speaker when it isn't. So, okay, the rest of that seems to be on there firmly. All right, so let's have a look here. Looking at the connections to the lugs, which go to the voice coil, and the silver wire that attaches them, making sure they are intact well, and they do appear to be. This one's kind of brushing up against the cone, which, can you hear this? No? Okay, never mind. I guess it's not actually. It's very close. I thought it was rubbing against the cone, but that was my finger you heard. All right, let's have a look at the other side. This is very clean. I'm very happy with that. I mean, there's some dust. The side sat down in the cabinet. Obviously, it sat that way, lugs up, and dusty side down. So, I don't know how meaningful this is, but sometimes what I like to do is put it back in the other way, just to, you know, all this stuff like leaned one way because of gravity for its whole life. Maybe let's put it up the other way, and you know, if that coil is starting to shift in the gap, well, let's just reset the clock and see if it wants to maybe shift the other way over the next 50 years of its life. Don't take that as advice, please. I don't know if that's a worthwhile thing to do or not. It doesn't hurt anything, though. I am going to try and clear this out a little bit. Bit of grossness there. This is many, many years of who knows what building up on there. You know, Marlboros that were manufactured in Winston-Salem, Virginia in like 1966 and 67, I'm sure. Plenty of that. And probably all throughout the 70s and 80s. You know, some of you younger people may not realize this, but smoking cigarettes used to be like very, very common. Like, I remember when I was young, most adults smoked cigarettes. And some kids. And that changed in my lifetime. And that's location based too. Not too many people smoke cigarettes here, but when I go to Las Vegas or, you know, travel somewhere else, I'm reminded how prevalent it still is in other places. Of course, a lot less people smoked weed and crack and meth and whatever else when I was growing up. That has changed. Enjoying the old man talk. Back in my day, shoot. Back before my day, this beauty was made. Okay, before we hook up the audio, I'm going to take a reading on the coil just to see what's up. See if if there's an open there. I'm not hooking it up to my amp because my bench amp is a Fry Power Station 100. Oh, I'm not getting anything. There we go. 7.5. I want to try and get it. I'm going to do that again. See if I can get a reading that's a little bit more consistent. Got to clean the solder off of these hooks for sure. Yeah, there we go. Yep, it's about 7.4, which is right. It is an 8 ohm speaker. 8 ohms being a measure of inductance and not DC resistance, which I'm measuring, which is why there's a difference. Okay. It's another test I like to do on a speaker. I've got this little jig here, which is just simply a battery with an alligator clip on it. This is actually it's 3 AAA batteries in there. So that would be 4.5 volts. A lot of people do it with a 9 volt, but honestly, and throwing a 11 volts DC or whatever a 9 volt reads when it's new, across some speakers is not ideal. See, that's the positive side. You probably can't see it on the camera, but there is a plus mark there. And the cone is moving forward, which is what I'm looking for. There we go. Checking the polarity of the speaker. It is correct as indicated on the lugs. And the speaker is functioning. Yeah, nice to test it with 4.5 volts before we throw some real power at it. Okay. Now, where all the stuff is in the world is a good question. I haven't hooked up this, this is the equipment on my bench. I rearrange it, use it for different things. It's not always just for testing speakers. Sometimes it's for testing amps. And sometimes it's for running a signal into a set of pickups and, all different kinds of stuff. So we're going to quickly hook things up in the amp testing configuration, which basically involves I'm running a WaveTech signal generator, function generator technically, into a power station using the power amp section of that and into this. So let me fire up my signal generator, bring the level all the way down. I'm going to put it at about 1K. And then we'll bring the power station up. Its levels are also down. Set to flat. It is a tube amp with two 6550s in it, so it's going to take a minute to warm up. We got my two desert workbench buddies here, Perrier and iced coffee. If you saw my last video where I was, you know what I didn't do before I get into random amp warm up mumbling? I didn't do a physical check to see if there was any scraping of the coil in the gap, and there is not. That's got a nice smooth throw. This cone is beautiful. This is in very, very good shape. So I've been watching a couple of these on Reverb for months. I don't know what that pop was. It's because it's leaning on the leads. But seller wanted way too much for them. First of all, one of them's got, I believe it was a tear in the cone. There's something wrong with it, and they're not in great physical condition. They're good. There's nothing wrong with them. But they're not even the Fender decals. Jensen made these speakers for other things besides Fender amps, but this is going in a Fender amp, and if you want the one that holds the most value and is actually correct for the amp, you want the one with the Fender decal. So got this for just a little over $200, which is a fair price. I tried to buy both of the other two and get a deal, and there was no deal to be had other than free shipping. So that's fine, The speakers will probably sell eventually anyway. They just weren't for me. All right, this should be warmed up by now, so I'm going to give the power amp a little bit of a volume. Now I can already hear that tone. I'm going to bring it down to about 600 hertz. Just give it some actual volume. So far, so good. I'm going to give it a little more volume and do a little bit more on the low frequencies. See what happens. I can. Okay, so I'm happy with it. Very good. I am pleased. I was a little nervous because this was just, shipped like USPS ground, and it took a long ride around the country to get here. But fortunately, the seller packed it well. Jensen made it well. And here it is in good working order, good condition. Now I'm going to box it right back up and set it aside until I get to doing my shootout. My not a shootout, my comparison. Not a shootout, comparison. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you. I'm so pleased to have this. I've had my eye out for one of these for a good year now or more. And I'm just really pleased. So this and the JBL D110F were the two speakers I was most interested in getting for my comparison, and I have them both now. And I also have CTS. I have an Alnico CTS, a ceramic CTS. I've got two EVs. I've got the Oxford that is in it. And was there something else? I don't know. I think that's it. I'm trying to basically get, at least one of every speaker that may have shipped in the amp originally. And it's or earlier. So this is a Princeton Reverb. Mine's from the late 70s. I think it's a 78. So this is obviously a speaker that's, more than 10 years earlier too, but this is very classic. So yeah, basically all things are game for me to put in that amp and try it from the mid 60s up through the 70s, maybe even 1980. And I'll probably do earlier because I've also got a 410 Bassman. So I can run some P10Qs. I've got a selection of those from 1960. They're P10Qs from 1960. I think there's a couple of P10Rs from 1959. And I have, I already said the mid 60s CTS Alnico and ceramics from my supers. Yeah, okay. So this thing's shaping out to be a nice comparison so far. I'll be excited, and I'm sure it'll be useful for others too. There's a lot of comparisons of modern speakers, and there's definitely some awesome comparisons of vintage British speakers. Johan Sageborn, for instance. I probably said his name wrong, I apologize. But I really admire him and his channel, so I have nothing but respect for him. But I have not seen anything for vintage American speakers like that. Certainly not, 10s. So I'll do my 12s and I'll do the 10s as well. Alrighty. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Take care. See ya.